Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. There's been a new update and we have new sounds. And I have to say, I think they're pretty cool. This is my first time checking them out, actually. Okay, well, I've been very busy. This episode might be a little unfocused on exactly what we're going to work on. I'm having problems keeping this all balanced. Right? I thought that by running all these outputs through a balancer, everything would be okay. I even ran the red and blue circuits through a balancer. 8-to-4. Yeah, I probably could have simplified 8-to-4 quite a bit, right? Well, and then into a 4x4. But anyway, I thought it would. That kind of sounds like a typewriter. Anyway, I just ran it into an 8-to-8, and I only have 4 outputs connected. But still, even with all that, the issue that I have sometimes been seeing is that sometimes not all of the inputs are being emptied at the same rate, right? So I might end up with something here where, say we're missing iron for green circuits and then red circuits stop, but there's enough iron in the chest to prevent another train from coming. So I think probably what I'm going to try is just to redesign this module build, as beautiful and elegant as it is, to just have 8 independent module making facilities. Yeah. See, I'm not sure I want to do that though, because then, like, let's say I have 4 of them making productivity and 4 of them making speed, and then my speed modules, or productivity modules get full and I need more speed modules. I don't know. I guess probably the way to do it would be to balance all the inputs and balance all the outputs. I don't know. I guess I need to think about it some more. But every once in a while I've been coming over here just to empty chests and then redistribute the contents of the chests to keep everything balanced and running. And I don't want to be doing that long term. Yeah, so I suppose if I'm gonna run the outputs through a balancer, then I should probably run all the inputs through a balancer as well. Either balance everything or balance nothing, and I'll need to decide which. I'll do some. I mean, if we were doing, what's 7.5 divided by 8 is, what is it? If we were going to do like one of them, it's less than 1. 0.5 divided by 8 is 0.0625, I think. So 1 minus 0.0625 is like 0.94, I don't know. Let's try 0.94. Okay, so we would need 2 module 1s and then 1 each of the 2s and the 3s if we were going to do that. And then the rest would be the same. But like I said, again, okay, so here's an idea. Maybe what I do is for each column, I have speed modules and productivity modules, and I just turn one or the other on or off depending on which one I need. I think that would work. I can just check my inventory levels, and that way if I get too many of one and not enough of the other, I can turn one or the other of them off and keep the production going so that all 8 of them are always producing. That sounds like a grand idea to me. So maybe we'll work on that today. But before we get to that, I want to talk about power. because I've been running out of power. I'm not now because I have more, which I'll get to in a moment. But one of the issues that I found is that with this 10 reactor design, when it gets, this should be able to give us 1.4 gigawatts. But what I found is that when the demand for power gets close to the limit, when it gets close to 1.4, the heat exchangers towards the ends drop below 500 degrees. They don't make any steam, and a good portion of the turbines stop running, and the power output drops to about 1.2. Okay, whereas a 10 reactor design like this, 2x5 reactors, should give me 1.44 gigawatts, theoretically. But I can't seem to get any more than 1.2 out of it. And I've tested other designs as well in creative mode. They have this thing called a passive electrical void, which essentially it kind of looks like an accumulator. You stick it on your electrical network and it'll force your power generation to run at full capacity. Right, it'll just soak up anything that comes out. So you can use that to test different configurations. So I tested this design, and you've seen the blueprint book, right? There's an 8 reactor variant, there's the 10 reactor, there's a 2, a 4, and a 6. Okay, and I didn't test the 2, but I tested the 4, the 6, the 8, and the 10. And I let them run for about 30 minutes. And what I found is that the 10 reactor version can't generate full power for whatever reason. I can't figure out why. I think it has something to do with just the speed that heat travels through the heat pipes. You know, they kind of treat the heat as a fluid. And I think it's got something to do just with the fluid mechanics of the game, that it just can't deliver heat fast enough from 10 reactors through a single column of heat pipes. Now, maybe if there was another design that used multiple columns of heat pipes going to separate heat exchangers, like maybe some of them out this way, some of them this way, maybe that would work better. But I tried another very large reactor design, and it had exactly the same problem. It would lose about 10 to 15% of its maximum capacity, and a lot of the turbines would stop working. And I'm not sure why, and I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out for the Factorio community, I mean, I would love to be able to figure it out, but I'm afraid I would spend hours and hours on it and then still not know. So I've decided that I'm going to limit myself to 2x4 reactor configurations. And while I was doing that, someone in my Discord channel, Blitz, I think it was nice enough to show me another design, which is this one here. This is an 8 reactor design, but I kind of like the layout better. It's a bit, I don't know, maybe it's not more compact. Looks like it takes up roughly the same amount of space, but I kind of like this layout. So I decided that I'm going to start using this one instead of the one that I normally use. And this came from a Reddit post. I'll put a link in the description. And I say that now. I'm likely to forget, but if I do, please remind me. Because I want to give credit to the author of this design. But it was from a Reddit post. I didn't design this myself. But I tested this one as well, and it works fine, right? With 8 reactors, you should get 1.1 gigawatts. And this version with 8 reactors and this new one that I want to start using, they both, over the course of 30 or 40 minutes, they delivered 1.1 gigawatts steadily with no issues. All right, so rather than try to figure out what the problem is with more than 8 reactors, I'm not going to fight it this time, and I'm just going to go with with an 8 reactor design and make multiples of it. Okay, so I put the first one down here, and the nice thing about this is I can put on one side of my grid, I can fit 3 of those side by side. And then what I'm planning to do in this grid is put landfill everywhere except for a strip of water down the middle, and I can put 3 and 3 there. So I can fit 6.6 gigawatts of power in this grid. I can fit another 3 on this side of this grid, and then when I need more, I will either need to put grids elsewhere where we have water, or the other thing I can do is I can get the explosive excavation mod, and I can use that to make explosives that will allow me to cut canals into land where I can have water available. I'll probably end up doing that. That way I can keep all the power consolidated. So since this one is over here, I set up a train to feed it. I'll go down there and show you the train. But what I'm doing is I'm taking some of these fuel cells and I'm just bringing them on a belt down here. Okay, and then I have a chest here, which will take used fuel cells. It'll process those, and then it'll send them up this belt to join the rest of the stuff from the uranium processing. Uranium processing has stopped because I have too much uranium-238 right now. Oh, no. Well, yeah, I mean, it's that, and also I've reached my 1:13 ratio. So I've also stopped doing enrichment. So that's cool. So we basically have, we've got more. I have 8.5 K of uranium-235, so we're not going to run out of uranium anytime soon. All right, so I have this train that loads 4 stacks of uranium fuel cells, and it'll take some stacks of the spent fuel cells. I'm using a filter inserter here on the unload so that it only takes out the used up ones, and it doesn't take the good ones out. Now let's go over to where I have the new reactor set up, and I'll show you how the train station is configured there to receive the fuel, because I'm using a little bit of logic on it. The train schedule is set up based on inactivity. So it'll come here to load, because I'm expecting for every one of these that I build, it's going to have its own train station. So what I'm expecting is that this train will come here, it'll load, and then it'll go out, and it'll stop at each one and deliver fuel and pick up spent fuel cells. So it'll go to the station and it'll just wait until it's got 5 seconds of inactivity, meaning that there's nothing being loaded or unloaded, and then it'll go to the next one. But I wanted to avoid having the train just circle endlessly because, for example, if this station doesn't need any fuel, it might not need fuel for several minutes, and I don't want the train just constantly running around. It's kind of silly to do that. So what I did is I hooked up these 2 chests. Okay, one of them is taking in all the spent fuel, and this is holding the fuel cells. I wired them both to a network, and then it comes to these 2 combinators. So I set this so that if we have fewer than 25 fuel cells or more than 50 spent fuel cells, either one of those conditions will output a signal of P equals 1. And I just use P because that's what we're using in all the TSM stations. And then I set this station to be enabled only when P is greater than 0. Okay, so when it either has enough to get rid of or it needs more, the station will be activated. And then if it's not activated, then the train will just sit there and wait until the station turns itself on. So that way this train won't go to any of the stations unless they need something. All right, and then I put 20 logistics bots to feed. I tried working with this to find a way to feed it with belts, and I couldn't make it happen. So I just decided to use bots. And like I said, the nice thing about these is that they're tileable, sort of, right? So the next one goes right next to it. And like I said, I can fit 3 of them there, 3 across. In fact, I could probably even fit 4 across if I try a little bit harder. Right? I think I could. Let's see. So if I put the first one there, all right, and then that comes over to about there. Yeah, I think I could fit 4 across. Huh. All right. So I think when I build up here, I'll do them in 4s. I don't want to tear this one apart right now because I've just built it. Okay, so I'm going to put down another blueprint here. Now in this case, I've had to put the pumps across the tracks here. And I use some landfill just to give myself a straight edge to work with. And I'll do the same here. Pardon me. Let me get some more landfill. Okay, so on this side, we'll come over to there. And then on this side, I'll see if I can fit them all over here, but I'll probably have to do this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to change the name of this one to number 2. Or no, actually I want this one to be 1 and I want the other one to be 2. Okay. The train should be coming here. Yeah, here it comes. And then I'll change this one to 2. So that way each set of reactors will have its own dedicated stop. Okay, and I'll need to get this guy out of the way. That was strange. Why didn't it unload? Oh, I know why. I think it should work now. Okay, hang on. Why isn't it unloading? Oh, because there's no inserter there. There we go. Okay, well, it'll come back and finish the job. Now in this case, these are all covered in the same logistics network. Okay, and now that I have that there, I'm going to tear apart my current reactor and use the parts to rebuild down there. So, thank you very much. I'm never going to be able to carry all this. Alright, and that means that all my fancy circuits and everything with the belts, all that stuff is gonna go away. Which is unfortunate, but we can't stay in the way of progress. So I'm just gonna put this stuff in the train so that I have room to carry everything. I'll leave the belts alone for now. Okay, now I'm full again. Let's drop off some more stuff. Okay, and it looks like I'm out of charge now for my roboports. I'm just holding down right click to pick these guys up. But they won't deploy again until I get a charge back in those things. Okay, so I'll have to pick up the rest of this manually. Most of it anyway. Okay, so it looks like we even get different sounds depending on what we pick up. It's a little strange, but I'm sure it's probably going to enhance the game. Eesh. Okay. So let's pick up all these water pipes. And particularly the offshore pumps. I don't need any fish. Thank you very much. Okay, I can throw some of that in there to store it as well. Alright, stop bringing me fish, please. And I hear kind of a high-pitched sound. I don't know if that's from the bots or if that's trying to simulate like the sound of a high-tension wire or something. Okay, now we'll pick that up. Okay, I'm going to need to come back with more active provider chests, more chests in general. Let me put in a request for those. Okay, and then let's bring our train back down so I can get the rest of the goodies out. All right, now this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, number 2 is turned on now, but I haven't added it to the schedule yet. So let's add 2 unload. 5 seconds of inactivity. Okay, and then I think in this case, yeah, it's coming to pick up and drop off. All right, so now we can see it loading the empty fuel cells as well as taking out some of the good ones. And then when that goes back, now both stations are turned off. So when it goes back, it'll get here and wait. Okay. All right. It's a nice, smooth operation, if I do say so myself. And I know that I wish I had done more of this as I was recording, but I had time one night where I was just kind of going around the base and just, I was just looking for problems and trying to fix things. And I did the testing with the reactors, and I just really wanted to get things resolved. So I apologize for not showing you everything that I did. But I would say that, I don't know, I think lately I've been feeling a little bit rushed. Like I feel like I'm kind of in a hurry to make progress on the base, and I suppose that I shouldn't. Because one of the things I wanted to do in this series was just kind of take my time with it and not worry about how long it took, because for me at least, the enjoyment is a lot more when I'm not too concerned about doing things quickly, where I just focus on doing things well. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do this playthrough with no biters, just so I don't have to, I don't have to be concerned with being in a rush to get things done before, biters attack and stuff. I mean, once you get to late game and you have walls built, then it's not so much of a concern, but train sounds are cool. Yeah, I like that. But I definitely enjoy the game more when there's no time pressure, so I guess I just have to not put time pressure on myself either. Okay, I have way too many pipes. I'll keep a few extra undergrounds, I suppose. All right, and then let's put some of these active providers to work. Actually, I'm going to take this and that and that. We'll drop those off where they can be used. Okay. All right, and speaking of landfill, I was running out, so I did create a little landfill production setup here, right where the stone is. All right, so I'm gradually filling up 2 chests with landfill, just so you know. Okay, let's head back down there, and then I think we'll have this finished off, and then we should have 2.2 gigawatts of power steady. And then with the time we have left, maybe we can go up and fix that module factory. Okay, I still have to hook this up to water, but it's okay. It's still heating up anyway, so we're not missing out on too much yet. Okay, so let me copy that. So each one of these columns is being fed with three offshore pumps for each column of heat exchangers. Whoops, that's not quite right. That would be better. Okay, so let me copy that. Holding down Shift. All right. Yeah, and then it's going to have to be a little bit different on this side because I've got all this stuff in the way. Okay. And then these, whoops. Yeah, those can be like the original ones. There we go. All right. And then, there we go, offshore pump. Like that. And like that. There we go. All right, and I'll put half of those fuel cells there. I'll put the other half there. I'll drop those in there, and then we can take this uranium-238 back. Okay, so let's see where we are. So we're making 1.1. This would seem to indicate that we have more than 1.1 gigawatts of capacity. I'm not sure why, because I don't think we do have that much. And I'm driving manually, which is very dangerous. Once you have a large rail network, I would recommend against driving your train manually for any reason. And the reason is just because it can be hard to know when other trains are coming, and you can end up smashing a train. Which can end up costing you a lot. You know, if you have a a train full of blue circuits that gets destroyed, it's gonna hurt. Okay, so then we can turn that off. We can turn that off. Actually, I think what I'd like to do here is move this belt. There we go. And I'll put that in that chest. And then that goes there. Okay. All right. Well, I feel good about this. We're in good shape for power. And we have plenty of room to expand, which is great. Okay, so let's go look at the modules. well, it's because I have auto trash on that stuff, so the logistic spots here will trash it as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the outputs for the circuit build right there. And then I should probably just wait for this to drain. Okay, yeah, I think I will. I'll let this build as much as it can with whatever's on these belts before I tear it up. But let's make a prototype of what the new setup will look like. Okay, so if we have red, blue, and green circuits like this, yep, red, blue, yeah, so it'll be red, blue, and green in that order. Actually, why don't we, let's combine red and blue, since those are both only half a belt anyway. Actually, this will be reversed. It'll be blue on the inside, and then red on the outside. I'm just holding down the Z key, by the way, in case you weren't sure how to drop stuff on a belt. Or you can press Z to do one item at a time. Okay, so the belts will look something like this. Okay, so what we'll need for each column are 2 machines making level 1 modules, feeding into 1 machine making level 2 modules. And that needs to go to make a level 3. Oh, actually, I do have more. I've got a lot more space than I normally do, right? I just need to fit inside this amount of space to keep things aligned. I don't have to fit within 7 tiles. Okay, so then what I'll do instead is we'll do the 2 level 1s. Those are going to feed into a level 2. And then we can put the level 3 over here. And have that output into a provider chest. Okay, so we'll get the greens from there. We'll get the reds from there. That'll get blues and reds. That's too far away. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have this be the green. All right, so that's where we get the green and red. This one will get red and blue from that belt. We'll get red and blue from that belt. And then we'll pass pass the level 2s across that way. And then we'll go into an uncapped passive provider chest. And then we can power the whole thing probably with a single, okay. Yeah, so this, and then we're going to have 2 of these. Okay, except this one will be for speed. Oh, we can't forget this. Okay, this will be speed 2. And that'll be speed 3. Okay, and then we just need some control circuitry to tell it which ones to make. And I think what we can do is we can compare, we can just compare how many speed modules we have versus how many production modules we have, and we'll just run whichever one is less. And in fact, we can do that even without any wires, right? Because we can connect these to the logistics network. No, I will need a signal. I'll need a decider combinator because these can't make any comparisons. They can only... Or can they? So can I enable this if speed module 3 or productivity module 3 is less than speed module 3? Yes, I can. And this is turned off. And what if I flip it around? That's turned off too. Why? That's in the network, right? Maybe it's not. Okay, that's why. It's got to be in the robot network. Do I not have any? Oh, come on. Okay, I don't have a RoboPort. But, all right. So let's pretend. Yeah, that one's turned off. And then if I copy those settings here, yeah, then it's turned on. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so all we do is all of these inserters I'll set for the productivity module comparison, and all of these I'll set for the speed module comparison. Very cool. And then, let's see. Oh man, that's too bad. It can almost be powered by one. So I'll just put 2 of them like that. We'll throw in a couple of lights. And then of course these will have, they'll all have speed modules inside. So let me, well, I'll just grab all of them. I don't know how many I'll need yet. Okay. And that's the build. All right, so now we can rip up all of this hideously ugly stuff that I've got here. All right, I'll throw those away. Jeez, why do I have so much junk? Okay, there we go. What is that noise? I wish I knew. Okay, now the logistics bots are coming. All right. Yeah, so now in this case we want... We want the circuits to be on that side. Give me a break, would you? Okay. Gotta get rid of that. Maybe I should get a mod that increases my inventory capacity. It's not fun worrying about your personal inventory size. It's not compelling gameplay. Okay. So then I'm going to put this down. And then I'm going to leave a little gap so that I don't turn it on yet. Because I need to get roboports out here. And I think I might have roboports on my train. Oh, and the other thing I want to do is I want to get all the circuits out of here and kind of preload it. Oh, bummer. No roboports. Okay, let me run back to base real quick and get some roboports. I should really have those on request. Where's my plane? Okay, give me all of that garbage. I'll get rid of these level 1s and level 2s. I don't want to deal with those. Get rid of that. I don't know where all these blue belts came from. Okay. All right, that's a little better. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just try to get rid of as many blue circuits as I can. Even distribution mod. Alright, don't stop yet. I'm almost done. Want to make sure I get them all. Okay. Great. Gotta keep things even. Okay, well, now that I know where to go, it's all the ones here that need blue circuits and all the ones here that need blue circuits. Okay, now let's get all the reds. And I'll just do the same ones. Okay, and then all the greens. I'll just keep the greens. That's going to be a little more difficult to evenly distribute. Okay, so let's get all this covered by the bot network. I'll put one right there. And I'll put one, what's that, 1, 2, 3. I'll put one right there. Okay, so now I can see all the speed module inserters are enabled and the productivity module inserters are not. Okay. Now this is going to look a lot slower, but I should still get the same amount of output from this as I was previously. Which is 7.5 a minute. Or wait a minute, no, I'm not. I had it designed to give me 7.5 a minute of each. Well, but I've got some, I'm overproducing here, so I think this will be fine. I'll let this go and I'll see what I get. I think I might get less than, because I had designed this to make 15 a minute. Running both. This way it's not going to make 15 a minute because it's only making one or the other. I really want them to both run at the same time. But I don't know if this can feed it. I don't think this can feed all of this because here I have more machine than I actually need because we're rounding up, right? These were all supposed to be fractional machines, more or less. And if I let them all run, then what will happen is the productivity modules will eat up all of the inputs and the speed modules won't get any. So maybe I'll just leave it like this. You know what would be nice? There's a mod that has what they call a crafting combinator that can actually change the recipes on assembly machines based on circuit conditions. Or maybe what I do is I just double all this and have 2 of each. Yes. That would be another solution. Right, so that way at any given moment I'm making twice as much. I'll have 2 sets of machines. I need more roboports, which we can accommodate there, and there. Okay, so that also works. Problem solved. So now I'll make 15 per minute of one or the other, but not both. Which should be fine. I think I'm going to be using roughly equal numbers. Actually, I'll probably need more speed modules. Because if we look at a typical layout, if we ignore one side, right, because those are shared. So let's say I've got 8 unique beacons for each machine, 16 speed modules to 4 productivity modules. Yeah, so I think I'm going to need a lot more speed modules than productivity modules. But for now, I think this will be fine, and then we can always refine the ratios later on if I need to. Right now, I do need a lot of speed modules because I've got a ton of productivity modules. So I don't mind if for the next 8 hours it makes nothing but speed modules. Let me make sure I have a few construction bots over here. Yeah, I do. What is... Oh, I'm missing inserters. Okay, I have to go back up there with more yellow inserters. I didn't realize that I didn't have enough. Okay, so more power, fix problems. And then next time I'll talk about smelting because I've been upgrading smelting as well. But I'm kind of out of time for today, so we'll have to talk about it next time. But I went over my power situation. We got the module build rebalanced. So now we've got 8 independent columns being fed by 8 independent columns, which means we should not have to worry about the balance of our inputs and outputs anymore. All right, well, I'll just tell you quickly. Iron smelting is upgraded. Copper smelting is partially upgraded. This doesn't have any modules yet. As soon as I have as soon as I have 824 speed modules, then we can go do that for copper. Okay. And then since I built both of those, I took apart, whoops, sorry. I took apart iron 1 because iron 1 is going to be rebuilt similarly to iron 2. And then as soon as I have copper 2 fully upgraded, then I'll take apart copper 1 because we won't need that anymore. Okay, so that's kind of the upgrade plan. We build a new one, we take apart the old one, and then copy the new one where the old one used to be. All right, well, that'll do it for today. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.